The early game in Rogue Trader is brutal unless you bring the right companions. Most new players pick the wrong team, get stuck on basic fights, and end up thinking the game is too hard. So here are the best early companions for your first run, and what roles they actually fill in your party. Keep in mind this list is specifically for early game and learning, so if I didn't list your favorite party member or a strong contender, that doesn't mean I don't think they're strong. But in my view, these are the companions that make your first act smoother, so better early fights, more fun, and less restarts. I'll show you who to recruit first, what role they can fill, and a recommendation on how you can build them. First up, Cassia or Celio, your navigator and by far the most overpowered companion in Rogue Trader. If you only take one thing from this video, always recruit her as soon as the prologue ends, go straight to UREC 5 and bring her aboard. She is just that good. Why? Because Cassia has access to navigator talents, abilities no one else in the game can ever get, not even the Rogue Trader, and these talents are absurdly strong. Survivability, damage, debuffs, battlefield control, she does everything you need. Her navigator power early on is Lidless Stare. It's an area psychic ability that you can fire twice even per turn very early in the game if you grab one of the early Psyker staves. This ability alone deletes entire swarms of enemies. Then there's Waking Nightmare, permanently reducing max health on everything affected. This is one of the most broken debuffs in Rogue Trader, and it stacks with everything your team is doing, scaling with your willpower characteristic. And it doesn't stop there. Cassia has navigator talents that heal, increase her defenses every round, boost her movement, reduce enemy dodge just by seeing them. She scales into basically any role you want, even tanking if you build her that way. But here's the crazy part. Even if you ignored all of her navigator strengths, Cassia's starter archetype is Officer, arguably the best support class in the entire game, bonus turns for your team while having powerful buffs, everything a good party needs. Cassia can literally do anything, and the only reason not to bring her is if you want a harder campaign, which is a good reason. Otherwise, she's a free power spike, just take her navigator talents and let the Officer kit do the rest. Next is Kibella, the Death Cult assassin and the first DLC companion you can recruit. The good news? She joins extremely early right after UREC 5. Once you picked up Cassia, you can immediately do her DLC quest and bring her into your party. Kibella uses the DLC Blade Dancer archetype, and Blade Dancer is ridiculous. It's one of the most front-loaded damage classes in Rogue Trader with tons of movement, huge burst damage, and the ability to delete entire packs of enemies in the first round, very similar to Cassia actually. Even if you pick talents at random, Blade Dancer still performs. That's how overtuned the early kit is. Her core tools are Blade Dance and Death from Above. These two abilities let her shred hordes, which Alcat loves to throw at you by the way. In fact, Blade Dancer feels like a direct counter to the enemy design philosophy in this game. And once she gets momentum, she snowballs hard. Every kill gives more charges of Death from Above, and if on top of that you support her with an Officer for bonus rounds, she can vibe full encounters by herself in round 1. People sometimes struggle with survivability from what I read, but it's usually because they tunnel too hard on damage. Blade Dancer actually has several very strong defensive talents, higher dodge, more wounds, and things like Race Against Death or Slip Away talents, which stack survivability every round, so I recommend checking them out. Later on, she has great synergy with the Executioner archetype if you need some tips. For example, Blade Dancer's Death Warden talent uses weapon skill to boost their Medicae, and Executioner's Anatomy Expert swaps increasing your wounds to Medicae instead of toughness. Combine the two and you suddenly have a tanky assassin with lots of wounds on the front line. If nothing else, doing her DLC quest early on though gives your entire party around 3 bonus levels if I recall. That alone makes the first act much easier before the final fights. Overall, Kibella is another major early game power spike. She brings absurd movement, easy damage, and lots of crowd clearing. Third on the list is Jay, your Act 2 gunslinger and one of the most useful companions in the entire campaign. She joins a bit later, but you can recruit her immediately once you land on Footfall. Just visit the Governor's Palace and push her quest first. Because she arrives in Act 2, her early talents are locked and you can't re-specialize her fully. That's unfortunate, but not a deal breaker. Jay is still incredibly strong because she's another Officer, so right away she brings team support and bonus rounds to the party. She also shines in 2 areas. She's your best dual-wielding gunslinger, and she's your best skill monkey. First, the gunslinger side, her origin gives her access to Xeno weaponry, and she starts with all the core dual-wielding talents you want anyway. Pistols might not sound as flashy as a heavy bolter or a flamer, but in Rogue Trader, they hit hard. Especially in Act 2, where you start finding some insane pistol gear. A good example is the pair holster accessory. If you crit with a pistol, you get a free attack. Jay dual wields, she crits constantly, and she can easily open a fight with 3 shots back to back. You will also find multiple great pistols, and you can also combine weapon types like shredders and plasma pistols. Second, she is your skill monkey. Her origin talent Never Play Fair lets her replace all intelligence skill checks with fellowship that instantly gives her high values in 9 out of the 13 skills without even trying, and you will need those skill checks. Then she scales even harder with Cold Trader's Acumen, another origin talent, which boosts her skills, dodge, armor, crit chance, and resistances based on the Rogue Trader's faction reputation. The more the campaign progresses and you keep selling stuff, the stronger Jay becomes. Now, having a dedicated skill monkey is incredibly important in Alcat games. There are tons of hidden items, shortcuts, rewards, and secrets locked behind skill checks, and Jay will make sure your first run doesn't miss any of them, especially since you likely haven't planned on skills with all the companions yet. Next, we have Argenta, the battle sister and one of the most reliable early game damage dealers you will recruit. She's nothing complicated, she doesn't have an extra gimmick like the others, she's just good. Argenta starts with 3 huge advantages: Bolter, Flamer, and Power Armor proficiency. That means all the annoying prerequisite talents other characters need to spend points on, she gets them for free. Her build path is clean and efficient from the very start to specialize on dealing damage. Her soldier-based archetype is already extremely strong on its own, but when you transition into Arch-Militant or Bounty Hunter, she becomes a full-on ranged killing machine. Already in Act 2, she will reach a potential of pumping out 1000 damage in a single round, making the game feel easy as pie. Argenta is also one of the companions who I feel scale naturally into late game without needing any crazy build or synergy. Give her a good bolter, a flamer, focus on taking any of the damaging talents really, and eventually she becomes a monster, and thankfully the game is full of items for her too. There's no weird builds, no terrible talents to pick, Argenta is just ready to go. She joins early in the prologue, she fits into any party composition, and she's the most straightforward way to a powerful ranged damage dealer to your first run. And finally, we have Pascal, the Adeptus Mechanicus tech priest. You could easily argue he deserves to be higher on the list. The only reason I place him 5th is because he's overwhelming I think for brand new players. He starts with a lot of unique abilities, and the operative isn't the strongest or most beginner friendly archetype early on. But don't let that fool you. Pascal can still be very strong. Like Cassia, he has access to unique tech priest talents that no one else in your party can ever get. These let you build him into multiple combat styles, plasma, melt-a-gun, these I really envy, then long-range support or more melee-centric if you prefer his Omniscion axe. His specialized tech talents are pretty great frankly. Filtering Protocols gives bonus AP when using plasma or melt-a-guns, and Overcharge Protocol ramps their damage every time he fires. If you want a tech-heavy range build, Pascal is a great opportunity to try them out. More importantly also, he can build Mechadendrites, healing tentacles, enemy pushing tentacles, stat boosting tentacles, and yes, he looks amazing once you start upgrading them. Pascal is also a good alternative skill character if you aren't using Jay or you're aiming for a heavy dogmatic playthrough. His origin talent Calculated Relations is similar. It swaps fellowship-based skill checks into intelligence, his main stat, so just like Jay, he can cover most of your skills if you need it. For his archetypes, I think Overseer is his thematic role-playing Mechanicus option. Will turn him into a great damage dealer. Overall, I feel Pascal is this jack-of-all-trades, can do everything type of character, but not a master of any of them, which makes him a really valuable, but also one of the harder companions to build well. But that's it for this, the best early companions to bring on your first Rogue Trader campaign. Hope this helped, and if you have any questions or requests, don't hesitate to ask. If you made it all the way here, drop a big "why" in the comments so I know you survived the video. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.